War is usually a solemn affair. We think of strategy, of generals in war rooms, of maps, and of the clash of ideologies. We think of two nations pitting their industrial and human strength against one another. But sometimes, war is just stupid. Sometimes the enemy isn't a rival nation. Sometimes, the enemy doesn't have an ideology. Sometimes, the enemy doesn't even have arms. Sometimes, the enemy is a bird. Welcome back to The Glitch. Today we are looking at perhaps the most embarrassing military operation in the history of the modern world. We are traveling to Western Australia to the year 1932 to witness the Great Emu War. Let's set the scene. It is the early 1930s. The world is in the grip of the Great Depression. In Western Australia, specifically in the Campion district, there is a community of struggling wheat farmers. But these aren't just any farmers. Many of them are veterans of World War I. These are hardened men who survived the trenches of Gallipoli and France. They were given land by the government as part of a soldier settlement scheme. They are tough. They are resilient. But they are about to face a threat that the German Empire never prepared them for. The threat arrived in the form of 20,000 emus. For those who don't know, the emu is a large, flightless bird native to Australia. They can grow up to 6 feet tall, they can run at 30 miles per hour, and they have very little respect for fences. In 1932, a massive migration of emus headed toward the coast for breeding season. But on their way, they found the cultivated wheatlands of the veterans. To an emu, a wheat farm is basically an all-you-can-eat buffet. They broke through the fences, trampled the crops, and ate everything in sight. The farmers watched their livelihoods disappear down the throats of giant birds. The farmers tried to shoot them, but there were too many. So, the veterans did what they knew best. They petitioned the government for military aid. They didn't want animal control. They wanted the army. They met with the Minister of Defense, Sir George Pierce. Now, Pierce was a man who liked a show of force. He agreed to send military assistance. He deployed Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery. Major Meredith was not going in alone. He brought 2 soldiers with him, Sergeant S. McMurray and Gunner J. O'Halloran. But more importantly, they brought the big guns. Specifically, 2 Lewis automatic machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The plan was simple. The emus are big targets. They can't shoot back. The soldiers would just set up the machine guns, herd the birds together, and mow them down. It was supposed to be a turkey shoot. Or, well, an emu shoot. The press even called it a war, labeling the soldiers as heroes going to save the farmers. Hostilities commenced on November 2nd, 1932. The soldiers spotted a group of about 50 emus. The men got into position. Major Meredith gave the order. The machine guns roared to life. And then, something incredible happened. The emus didn't panic and run in a clump. They split up. They scattered in every direction, running in chaotic, unpredictable zigzag patterns. The Lewis gun, which was designed to shoot at lines of marching human infantry, couldn't track the sprinting birds. The soldiers fired hundreds of rounds. They hit maybe a dozen birds. The rest vanished into the bush. Major Meredith was annoyed, but undeterred. He decided they needed a better strategy. 2 days later, they set up an ambush near a dam where over 1,000 emus were spotted heading for water. This was it, the kill zone. They waited until the birds were point-blank range. They opened fire, and then the gun jammed. After only a few shots, the machine gun malfunctioned. The emus, realizing the noise meant danger, scattered again. 1,000 birds, and the army had almost nothing to show for it. As the war dragged on, Major Meredith began to develop a grudging respect for his enemy. These birds were tactical geniuses. They discovered that the emus had leaders. There was always one tall bird standing watch while the others ate. At the first sign of the soldiers, the sentry would signal, and the flock would disperse into the scrub where the military trucks couldn't follow. Desperate, Meredith tried to mount one of the machine guns onto a truck to chase them down, but the terrain was so rough that the truck bounced violently.